my name is Cindy and I paint pretty things. Long story short, I have been a part-time freelancer since I graduated art college in 2020. I know, yikes. And today I want to discuss a huge topic for any artist who is trying to make art their career, and that is art school worth it? I really want to preface by saying this is my own experience and everyone's experience is very different, so please consider that. I graduated from a relatively small art college called the Pennsylvania College of Art and Design in downtown Lancaster. That school has changed a lot even in the past 5 years, so I can't really attest to how the school is to this day, but this is how I experienced it. Personally, I had come from a very large high school, so what was really important to me was going to a smaller and more tight-knit college, which I felt like was very helpful for an artist because that meant that one professor could focus on just a few number of students instead of having like a huge 30 class to attend to. It meant that, for better or for worse, everyone knew each other, and so you were able to make friends or had to deal with people you didn't like so much all the time. But either way, it definitely was a community that you were interacting with every single day and every single week. The TLDR of it all for me is that I would recommend art school, but with some caveats. I think that everything in this world is becoming much more expensive as we go on, and unfortunately the quality of things is also going down. Do I know the quality of the school as it is now? I don't, but I think that if financially art school really isn't something that is viable for you, these days there are many lessons and courses, free or paid, that you can take, as well as many helpful artists out there who are open to sharing their process and how they have found themselves in their art journey as well as their careers. So I don't think art school is necessary, but it does have a lot of benefits. The first benefit would definitely be structure. If you're someone who is not super motivated or you don't have a clear grasp yet of what you want to do in your career, then having the structure of school is very nice because it sets you on a path and it gives you a way to improve that is through someone, hopefully, who is a profession in art as well, so you're able to really benefit from their experience and their guidance. Even though I'm an artist, and most artists I feel like tend to be very free spirits, I'm a type A person, so I need structure. Structure is everything to me. I'm also an academic girly myself. Like, unfortunately, I do enjoy the satisfaction of studying hard for something and then taking this test and seeing that you got a good grade on it, or being able to hand in homework and then see your hard work pay off by getting a good grade on the homework. Understanding, of course, that academia is not for everyone. It doesn't work well for everyone and it's not as accessible. So it worked for me, but I think for many other people, grades just don't work for them, and especially for creatives. And I think I found that that was actually a negative for a lot of people. They felt like art school really forced them into this box that made them feel like their art had to be this or they had to do that. And I think that's just the thing. It's art. The thing that we enjoy about it is that it can be molded into something that we enjoy. So art school has the structure and it is forcing you to do things at the end of the day. And that can be a good or bad thing, which kind of leads me to my next point, which is that art school is what you make out of it. Simply put, you get what you put in. If you choose to blow off the projects because they're just not fun to you, or you feel like you'll never use this skill set, then guess what? You're not going to learn it. And you might find that a lot of the things you feel like at the time are not helpful to you, later in life, you might realize, actually, I think I did need to try harder on that. And that's my peers' experience, and that's my own experience as well. I can't tell you the number of times that I have been working on something and then I do something that was taught to me in school that really annoyed me, and then I'm like, oh crap, they were right. This really does help make my process a lot easier. I got a lot out of my college career because I put a lot into it. I went into it very motivated, and luckily I'm just a motivated person myself. It's in my family's culture to have a really strong work ethic, so that worked out in my favor. But I did see a lot of peers who just they didn't have the drive to do it. So if you're going into it feeling very unsure, then it just might not be for you, and it might not be for you just at this moment. Another benefit to art school for me was that going in, I knew I wanted to be an artist and that I enjoyed drawing enough to make it my profession, but I didn't know what industry I wanted to work in. So if you're someone who is super clear on what you want to do, and you also are aware of how to do it, then art school is not going to help you out so much. And I would say that there are a lot of paths in art that don't really require art school. Like these days, there are a lot of modern ways to become an artist. Like if your goal is to really use social media and become what we call, quote unquote, an art influencer, I'm not so sure that colleges have the modernized curriculum to be able to teach you the skill set to pursue that. If you're going after more traditional routes like the classic animation route or children's book or marketing or editorial, you'll find a lot more access to information that will actually help you. So I think then going into art school, if you're able to have a clearer image of what you want to get out of it, in my case, I didn't have a clear image, so going to college was to help me get one and to connect with people in different industries who had different experiences to show me what it is that they do so I could figure it out. That was very helpful for me. And that leads me into what I would say is the biggest benefit of going to art school, and that is networking. It is simply being able to be in one place with many other artists who are around the same skill level as you, and being able to communicate with your professors who hopefully have the experience that they can share, and you can learn from their mistakes and their wins. I'm lucky enough that to this day, I have a professor that I've been able to reach out to ask questions. She's always been kind and been very open about her current and past students reaching out to her to ask her about contracts, about pricing, about like, what do you think about this project, or who would you suggest I reach out to if I'm trying to get into this industry? Just having that as a resource is so valuable, and I imagine it would be harder to get those connections online because the immediate connection there is simply, I was a student. I didn't really have to do much. I just took her class. As opposed to online, because there are so many people on there, it might be harder to build a connection with someone and build a trust with someone to the point where they'd be open to offering that kind of advice to you. I will also say, on less of a professional level, the memories that I built with my fellow art students is just, it's priceless. The feeling of having finals and being in studios with your friends late at night, you all procrastinated, or this project is just very difficult and you can bond over the difficulties of that, and just being with people who understand exactly what you're going through. Because listen, no matter how supportive your family is, they're not gonna understand that you have a skull due tomorrow and you have not started it, and it needs to be a fully rendered skull and it is already 1 a.m. Like that is a unique struggle to an art student. And yeah, they're hard, they're tough, but at the end of the day, they're very fond memories of mine personally. And I learned a lot about the fundamentals that, yeah, I could have learned online, but I think learning it from someone in person who is then demoing that skill to me really hits harder and shows me more the benefits and the value of those skills. It also helps to like really humanize other artists. I think it's really easy to compare yourself to other really amazing artists on Instagram and on Twitter and feel like, oh my gosh, I am so behind. Look at how amazing this person is, without really knowing their background, what they've been through, their experience. So when you're with other students, and for the most part you're at the same skill level and you're seeing each other's in progress, you're seeing how they work, it, at least for me, felt more inspiring than anything. And I was lucky enough that my professors were all very, very supportive people. I'm also someone who very much enjoys the connection, the conversation that happens with art. I know a lot of people can sometimes be like, oh, well, I just want to do what I want to do, and that's that. And if that's you, cool, maybe then art school isn't for you. For me, I really enjoy working in a group, discussing ideas. I like being one part of a big project, and that's what I find joy in. So I think I thrived in that. And we as artists, I feel like can accidentally make ourselves very lonely. We can feel very alone in this battle of trying to be a creative in a world that doesn't value being a creative. So it's really important to make those connections with other people who are like you, so you can really see the value in yourself and be able to see the value in each other's works and really help lift each other up. It sounds corny, but it's true. Now, all of that it sounds a bit romanticized, doesn't it? Like, oh yeah, we're all gonna be together with our friends and we're gonna make art. Well, I don't want to sell that picture to you. Art school was very difficult. I actually quit for 1.5 years. And even though I went in being someone who was like, I'm doing this, because the stereotype is that you go into art school and then you never do art ever again as soon as you graduate. And I was like, that's not going to be me. I'm doing this. This is meant for me. And I hit a point in my life where I was second guessing for the first time. I was like, actually, is this really what I want to do? And so I took a gap year, and I actually wasn't sure if I was going to come back. So everyone's journey is very different. And even for someone like me who is very steadfast, and I'm a man of my word, and when I decide to do something, I typically am gonna do it, but not without its highs and lows, we'll say. If you ever want to hear me talk about my experience with my gap year, I'd be happy to talk about it. Just give me a comment down below and let me know. Anyways, we're in a very digital age right now. Extremely digital age, just growing technology, and it's scary. So in a weird paradoxical way, even though there are even more resources online to help you, there are huge benefits to being in art school in person and just being immersed in that community. As someone who didn't really have a lot of sense of community in high school, going to college was just, it changed me for the better. It really did. And I was lucky enough for it to be a very supportive community. If to you, all your goal is, I want to be better skill-wise at art, then you don't need college. You don't need art school. You don't. You can improve your skills all on your own just fine, depending on who you are. But on paper, you could easily just find all sorts of resources to improve your technical skill. But I wouldn't say that a successful art career is simply technical skill, because if it was, it would be a lot easier. Becoming a full-time artist, which is funny for me to say because I'm only part-time, but becoming a full-time artist is way more than your art, which is a hard pill to swallow. And it's a difficult truth that a lot of artists have a hard time realizing. People who are technical skill wise, way worse than you at drawing, can have the ability to be more successful than you, depending on what you see as successful. So if you think that having a lot of followers is success for you, unfortunately, you're going to find a whole lot of people who you feel like, I draw a lot better than this person. How do they have hundreds of thousands of followers? It's because it doesn't just depend on your skill. And as far as freelancing, it's the same thing. You can see art that was done for, let's say, a marketing campaign. And you're like, dude, this is not that great. How did they get this job? And I can't get a job similar. Unfortunately, it comes down to marketing. And while I'm still figuring that one out myself, I would say that the clients that I have been able to find and work with have been through the advice and the guidance that I have through my mentors that I met through college. So really, it's an important part of my personal art career. I'm also just someone who doesn't have regrets in my life choices. So even though my college experience was not perfect, because there were things that I felt like maybe weren't created the best, maybe not catered the best, maybe weren't the best, most optimized learning experiences for young artists who are still trying to figure it out, but I did find a lot of value in it. And I think that's the key, is that you have to want to find value in it. If you go in with certain expectations and those expectations aren't met, I think the key in being an artist in this industry long term is flexibility. It's the openness to see, okay, maybe right now I'm not seeing the value in this, but I could try to find value in it now, or accept that perhaps I'll find value in this later. Recognizing that you may never find value from it. That is very true. Sometimes things really are just a little bit of a waste of your time. But frankly, that was rare for me. I would say most things that I suffered through still had some value. Even if it was just a little nugget, it was still something. Not to be sappy, but at the end of the day, my very best friends, my lifelong friends, are people I met through art school. So that alone makes it so valuable to me. And you know what? I do know plenty of people who have found that same exact thing online. So it's definitely not a required thing. And I think that's the biggest part, is that you shouldn't be made to feel like you have to do this, that the only path to getting to where you'd like to go is this one path. Because again, that's the whole thing, is that you create your own path. That's the exciting part, and also the really scary part, that there isn't a clear path to get to where you're trying to go, and sometimes you don't even know where you're trying to go. So in a way, my answer is a non-answer. Is art school worth it? Well, that's up to you. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. If there was anything I talked about that you want a little more details on, please feel free to comment below. I'm just another little artist in this big world trying to make it. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an expert, but I do have my own experiences, and I'm really this year trying to connect. I really want to connect and have conversations with more artists who are struggling with the same things that I am. If you'd like to help me build this little community, please subscribe and hit like on this video so I know that you like this content. This being my first YouTube voiceover video, I can say I don't fully know what I'm doing. Other things I'm considering making videos on are things about being a part-time artist specifically, and why I am pro not quitting your day job, as well as when I did a 365 art challenge where I drew every day for a year twice, and my experience with that, and any other things that you might want to chat about. Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day, and until next time.